Kill Bill, The Whole Bloody Affair is the uncut, unrated, true version of Quentin Tarantino's fourth film, Kill Bill. This movie stars Uma Thurman as the bride. She is regarded as the deadliest assassin in the world. She's part of this group of assassins led by a man named Bill. One day, she discovers she is pregnant and decides to peacefully leave the group, so she thinks. She's just about to get married when all of a sudden Bill and his group of assassins, they show up to the chapel. They wipe out everybody that's there, seemingly killing her and her unborn baby. However, she wakes up from a coma 4 years later, and now all that's on her mind is revenge. She's gonna go out there and she's gonna kill every single member of this assassination squad, eventually getting to Bill himself. A question I get asked a lot, I'm sure most movie lovers get asked a lot, is who is your favorite director in the business? For me, I typically go back and forth all the time between Quentin Tarantino and Christopher Nolan. Occasionally, I'll throw a third name in there from the list of directors that I love, but Nolan and Tarantino, those are the two constants. And then for me, the question always would be, what is the best Tarantino movie? I mean, the easy answer is probably to say Pulp Fiction, and I do absolutely love Pulp Fiction. But Kill Bill was always a movie that I really loved and really spoke to me personally. I grew up a massive martial arts fan. I did martial arts growing up. So seeing this martial arts movie by Quentin Tarantino just hit me a type of way. That's like everything I could dream of in a movie. So when I experienced Kill Bill Volumes 1 and 2 for the first time, that's how I walked away from it. Just like, this is like the Tarantino movie that was made for me. However, like everybody else out there, I could only experience Kill Bill as Volumes 1 and 2, for those of you who don't know. When Quentin Tarantino originally pitched Kill Bill to the studios, they said, this is way too long of a movie, you need to cut some stuff out. And he's like, I don't want to cut anything out, I believe that everything that's in this movie needs to be in this movie. So because of that, he split it into two parts, and that is what we got. There have been reports though that since, I want to say 2006, this version of Kill Bill, The Whole Bloody Affair, the single 4-hour long unedited movie that he always intended to release to everybody, did exist. Apparently he would show it in his Beverly Hills theater that he owned on certain nights, and that's just where it's always been, but it never got a wide release. But now he finally got the distribution rights, and now we, the entire world, can experience it the way it was always meant to be. As soon as I caught wind of that, I immediately ordered my tickets, and I couldn't have been more excited to see a movie. To finally see it the way it was meant to be experienced, I was so excited. I'm gonna try to keep this review spoiler free, which is gonna be tough because there are some things that I want to get into that could be spoiler territory. If I feel I'm going to, I will say that earlier, but I'm gonna say this right now. If you've never seen Kill Bill, well, honestly, I kind of envy you, because if you now get to experience it for the first time ever as The Whole Bloody Affair, that's awesome. You should kind of count your blessings that you missed it. Starting off with this, Uma Thurman as the bride is one of the best characters ever. Like, the biggest problem that a lot of us have as movie lovers, as movie fans, is the whole girl boss, female action hero. The way Hollywood does it nowadays, they're just, you can't get on board with them. They're Mary Sue's, they're just good at everything with no explanation whatsoever, and they're not likable. They're not the type of characters you can get behind. The Bride is probably the greatest female action hero ever. I know there's a case for Ripley from Aliens or Sarah Connor in the Terminator movies, but for me, I would say it's The Bride, and I don't think I'm necessarily wrong in saying that. And Uma Thurman just plays this character so perfectly. There's nobody else who could have been the Bride. I mean, she is cold, she's relentless, she's brutal, she is incredibly gifted at the art of fighting and swords and killing. She's an absolute fucking warrior, and the second she wakes up, you just know the people on the other side are in trouble. But you're also totally rooting for her. She got completely fucked over by these people. She was about to get married, start a new life with, you know, her husband and her baby, and that all just got taken from her. All she wanted was the chance to just live a normal life, leave the assassin life behind her, and they took that. So yeah, it's very easy to get on board with someone like her. And not just her, but the Deadly Viper Assassination Squad, they're all great. David Cordin, I hope I pronounced that correctly, as Bill. He's a great antagonist because he plays off a little bit of that, you know, typical Tarantino antagonist sort of vibe. He's not just like the stereotypical bad guy, like pure evil. I mean, he is those things, but the way he delivers dialogue, the way he talks to people, the way he communicates his point, he's very eloquent. Like the type of character you can't help but be fascinated by. And yeah, how is the dialogue in this movie? The dialogue in this movie, Quentin Tarantino dialogue is the fucking best. Say whatever you want about Quentin Tarantino and, you know, the things he says about certain actors as of late, or, you know, how he goes about the direction of movies, or even just who he is as a person. Quentin Tarantino as a writer is probably one of the best ever. I mean, the dialogue he creates, it's so riveting, it's so engaging. There's a monologue that Bill gives in this movie comparing a character to Superman. He talks about the origin of Superman and who Superman is as a character, what stands him aside from other superheroes. It's a monologue that when I heard that for the first time, and you know, it didn't just speak to me because I love, you know, superheroes and comic books and everything like that, but when I heard that, I'm just like, yes. And it was brilliant. The way it was delivered, the scene it's used in, it's perfect. And there's so many constant moments like that. You walk out of Tarantino movies and you're just immediately wanting to quote them. And yeah, what's also a steadfast in Tarantino movies? Well, the violence. How is this movie? This is probably the most violent Tarantino movie. I mean, there's a lot of blood, even more so in this one, because one of the other things about, you know, Kill Bill Volume 1 when that was released, the fight with the Crazy 88 when the bride takes them on, that had to be in black and white, so there wasn't as much blood, so it wouldn't be NC-17. Well, in this movie, that epic fight is extended, it's more awesome, it's more fantastic, and there's a lot more blood. A lot of people die in very graphic, gory ways. But the way Tarantino can execute violence in these movies, it makes them fun, it gives you the shock value, but a really big shock value, the good kind. And it's just epic. I mean, I'm someone who loves this so much because for me, it's the martial arts action that he brings into this movie. The fight moves, the samurai swords, just all of it. It's fantastic. And the choreography was brilliant. The stunt work, spectacular. Tarantino has always taken pride in the stunt work for his action sequences. He certainly has done so here in this movie. I tell all the people that I know who aren't as familiar with Tarantino's films as I am, you know, many of them say like, oh, Django Unchained is the most fun you'll have with Quentin Tarantino violence. I'm like, well, you clearly haven't seen Kill Bill. But yeah, here it's epic, it's violent, it's abundant, and it's just so much fun. Now here is where I'm going to start comparing a little bit of The Whole Bloody Affair to Volumes 1 and 2, and if and what are the key differences. Because I think a question that a lot of people might be asking is, well, if I've seen Kill Bill Volumes 1 and 2 many, many times, and I've watched them back to back as one movie, which I always have if I'm watching Kill Bill, is this a movie that's even really worth seeing in theaters? I mean, in that case, couldn't I just stay at home and pop in my Blu-ray disc for that and just watch them that way and just not drive to a theater to experience this? I do get what you're saying, but when you watch The Whole Bloody Affair, there are some very subtle but also powerful changes in The Whole Bloody Affair that I think elevates Kill Bill as a movie a lot more than it already is. I already alluded to earlier, in this movie, the violence is a lot more abundant, there's a lot more blood, because in this one, he can get away with a little bit more, so when you see that, you know the movie's not being cheaped out by having to be black and white. In this one, it can go a little bit more the extra mile. It can be a little more edgy, and as a result, it can make the kills, it can make the violence, it makes the action that much more satisfying. In that case, you feel like it is paying a little bit more of an homage to the samurai stories and martial arts movies that you know Tarantino received influence in making this movie for. But more so than that, there are, I think, two really big changes in this version that you're not going to find in the Volumes 1 and 2 that I think take the movie up quite a bit, and I'm gonna get into that right now. The first one is the backstory of Oren Ishii. So in Volume 1, we get a brief anime-style backstory of what happened with her as a young character. Oren Ishii is obviously one of the members of the Viper Assassination Squad that the bride's going after. And we learn in her own backstory, Oren Ishii, when she was a little girl, her parents were brutally murdered by a Japanese mob boss of sorts. She swore revenge, and in Volume 1, we saw, like, immediately rather, she, you know, well, not immediately, it just went from her parents were dying, then it cuts over to her getting revenge on the mob boss and killing him. That still happens in this movie, but in Volume 1, that shifts over immediately into the other anime sequence of her being one of the top assassins in the world. In The Whole Bloody Affair, there's now an extended anime sequence of her continued revenge, because in this extended sequence, you see that, yeah, she killed the mob boss, but that wasn't the end of her revenge. There was a little bit more she had to do to truly have the vengeance that she believes she deserves. So as a result, it's an extended anime sequence. It's a lot more intense. It's a lot more violent. It's more crazy action going on. It's really impressive animation, by the way. I've never been the biggest anime fan. I've always respected it, but I've never been like a super fan of it like some of my friends are. But it's pretty awesome here, I gotta say. That scene was pretty epic. The new scene in here is awesome. If you are an anime fan, you'll really love seeing that. But what really makes the extended sequence so much more fulfilling is in that moment, you see just more of the level that Oranishi had to go through to get the revenge that she wanted. And you also, in a lot of ways, you see what happened with her as a kid and what she had to do as a kid to get justice. It makes her from being more of a tragic character and less of a villain, because throughout this movie, the whole point is the bride is going after this squad of assassins and she's gonna take them all out. Those are the bad guys. Those are the people we need to root against. And when she confronts Oren Ishii and she's ready to bring her down, you're still very much on the bride's side. But you look at Oren Ishii and your heart kind of breaks, because she is someone who was probably never meant for this life. She probably had a normal childhood and then her parents were brutally murdered, taken away from her, and she went on this path for vengeance that led to her going down a very dark pathway. Maybe she killed someone, she liked how it felt, and that's what led her to go down this really bad path that she couldn't come back from. It led to her becoming this evil, murderous assassin that probably took people with families and killed them too. And like we said, we got an extended version of her backstory that made her character all the more tragic. And also, there's another very subtle but huge change that's in the whole bloody affair that you're not going to get in the other movies. So, in the original version, I will try to be spoiler free here. I'm really going to do my best. If I know I'm just going to have to get into spoiler territory, I'll just tell you in the event you haven't seen this movie. The way Volume 1 ends, someone reveals something that is meant to be the hook. It's meant to get characters, well, not get characters, get people to come back to see Volume 2. It's meant to be that hook. It's like, oh, we gotta see Volume 2. We gotta see what happens to these other characters and what happens in light of this news. And my guess is that wasn't a part of the original Tarantino cut. That was probably him throwing that in there. So it's like, well, I need to make sure people go see Volume 2, and while I'm sure Volume 1 will be a hit, I'm gonna throw that in there at the end so people are like, oh, we gotta get to Volume 2 like now. I totally get that move, I get the business side of it, but here's what I will say. When you see that for the first time in Volume 1, and then in Volume 2, when such a thing is revealed, it's meant to be an emotional, powerful, very impacting moment when you witness it. Because you are seeing something from the bride's point of view, and you see how overwhelmed she is. You can tell, in Tarantino's original version, he wanted us to feel that same way. The problem is, in Volume 1, because for us it was already revealed, in Volume 2, you're just expecting it. In the whole bloody affair, that big reveal you get at the end of Volume 1 is gone. It does not exist, it is not here. You have the brief intermission in between where Volume 1 and Volume 2 are. But in Volume 2, again, that opens up with, the bride kind of giving you a little catch-up of what happened in Volume 1. But that's also gone too. It is one movie stitched together. The way Volume 1 ends is just the end of the first half of the movie. Then you get right into the second half of the movie. And now, as a result, when the big reveal happens, when you see what was being alluded to at the end of Volume 1, if you remember Volume 1, but I'm going to say this much. If you've never seen Kill Bill before this and you experienced it the first time, that moment's just going to wipe you out. It's going to absolutely hit you in the feels. You're going to get emotional. You're going to get the knot in your throat. And I can say this for you right now, because as someone who has seen Kill Bill Volumes 1 and 2 100 times over, seeing that moment in this movie, when the whole alluding to is not done in the first half, it hit me. I felt myself getting emotional. I felt myself getting choked up, because you're experiencing it a little bit in the same way the bride is experiencing it, the way it should be. Like, it's such a subtle change that takes such a gargantuan effect on the audience, and as a result, brings the movie up many levels. And yes, I know I use the word gargantuan because, you know what, Elle's right. How often do we get a chance to use that word? I also think what's great about this being one stitched together movie, one gigantic movie, is when certain lines of dialogue happen between certain characters, everything feels just more flowed. I mean, some people will say Volume 1 is more exciting than Volume 2 because of the big crazy 88 action sequence. Like, there's not anywhere near as big an action sequences in Volume 2 as there is there. But I will say, there are moments of dialogue between characters in Volume 2 that really allude to moments that happen in Volume 1, or rather, only make sense or hit the most, as they're planning to be, if you experienced Volume 1 immediately prior. So that is ultimately what it comes down to. Yes, this is a 4-hour long movie, like more like 4.5 hours with its intermission and with previews and shit. But that's what I'm gonna say right now. It totally feels worth it. Like, I know some people out there will adamantly tell you, like, oh, I don't like long movies. No, that's not what you mean. What you mean is you don't like slow movies. And Kill Bill is in no way, shape, or form that. I was locked into this movie the entire time. I never once wanted to check the time. I never once felt myself zoning out. I was transfixed and locked into this movie the whole time. And it flows by so quickly. It's so well paced. Like, I have seen 2-hour-long movies that felt way longer than Kill Bill: The Whole Bloody Affair. That's amazing. That shows you right there, Quentin Tarantino knows how to use runtime, and he can make a 4-hour-long epic feel exactly that. So all in all, Kill Bill: The Whole Bloody Affair, it's something I have wanted to experience for a long, long time, and I could not be happier it's finally here. This is the perfect Christmas present that someone like me could have asked for. The characters in this movie are all fantastic, especially Uma Thurman as the bride. Spectacular. If you want to call her the best Tarantino character ever, I wouldn't disagree with that. In fact, I would probably support that. The writing, the dialogue, the story, it's fantastic. It's riveting. It keeps you engaged. Tarantino has moments in there that are legitimately hilarious. He has moments in there that are legitimately emotional and hit you. The violence, it's the best violence you'll ever see in a Tarantino movie, and that's saying something. But yeah, the action across the board is so much fun. The martial arts fights, the sword fighting, the lore behind certain characters, and seeing them train and go through developing certain techniques. It's incredible. The stunt work, the choreography, it's top notch here once again. And seeing it all woven together as one gigantic movie with those very subtle changes either added to it or taken out of it from its original 2-volume edition, it goes such a long way. And that's why I'm telling you right now, even if you've seen Kill Bill Volumes 1 and 2, I'm telling you, you haven't truly seen Kill Bill unless you've seen The Whole Bloody Affair. Please, I'm begging you, go see this movie in theaters. Whether you've seen it a million times, or especially if you've never seen it. If you've never seen Kill Bill, this is how you need to see it. In the end, this movie is an absolute masterpiece, and in my opinion, Kill Bill is the best revenge flick of all time. So excited I finally get to give the first one of the year. Ladies and gentlemen, Kill Bill: The Whole Bloody Affair gets a perfect 10 out of 10, which makes this movie all-time greatness. I mean, I would have given Volumes 1 and 2 that rating anyway, but now as one movie, only further justified. People were asking me, it's like, was I just being really tough this year? Am I just being a harsh critic? No, I've been waiting for a movie to feel like an experience, to feel like church, to remind me why I love movies so much. Kill Bill: The Whole Bloody Affair did that for me. So happy we finally got this movie. So that's all I gotta say, guys. Thank you so much for watching my video, and as always, don't leave a comment, like, subscribe, and I will see you all next time.